Okay, I think I got it. Let me just double check my audio. Everything looks good on my end. If somebody could let me know how the audio is and video, I would appreciate it. Um, Looks like I got. There we go. All right. Getting everything organized here to where I can work around what I'm doing. This is going to be the last week, guys, that I use this free streaming software that I'm using. I just don't like it. Uh, there's, I mean, it works good when it's working, but there's just so many bugs and everything's so much different than what I'm used to. So I think I'm going to go back to uh, the software, the paid software that I was using. Um, yeah, we'll see what happens. But I do have some really great announcements tonight, guys. Something that I've been working on now for the past couple months, trying to get the Coturnix Kids program up and running again. And it looks like we've actually got all the sponsors that we need. I just picked up another sponsor today. I'm going to go through that list here in a minute. But first off, I want to give a shout out to our sponsors, Southwest Game Birds and Hatching Time. Both these companies do a lot for the channel. They make donations every week for us to give away on the channel to you guys. So that really helps. Let me move that over so I can see here. Okay, get that back up. All right. Yeah, Southwest Game Birds and Hatching Time, much appreciated. And if you guys would, visit their website, check them out. If you need something from either of them companies, patronize them. So it kind of helps them out too. But what I was saying earlier about the live stream issues, I've been using OBS for the past about a month, I believe. And while it does work, I'm just having a lot of glitches and issues and things that I can't figure out. So we are going to get away from that. I'm noticing one thing over here. Hold on, I got to check one thing. Okay, that looks good. So yeah, like I said earlier, we're going to go back to the paid software. Another thing, I want to throw this out to you guys. It looks like we got enough people in here now. I had one of the guys in the Coturnix Corner community reach out to me today, saying that he's getting, well, we're all getting a lot of comments, and by all, I don't mean all you guys. I mean the members over at the Coturnix Corner group. Comments on the DIY box incubator. And it was suggested to me that maybe I could design or not design, but put together a package where the DIY box would be all pre-cut pieces, to where all you would have to do is, assemble it. It's still up in the air as far as all the electronics and whatnot, whether I want to supply those with the kit or whether it's just the foam. So if you guys could let me know what you guys would like to see, just the foam be available or the entire kit be available. If it's just the foam, I think I can put something together to where I could cut it out fast enough and get it boxed up and ship it out. Relatively for cost. I mean, obviously I'm gonna have to go out and buy the foam and pay for shipping and whatnot. But we'll see how long it takes. So anyhow, that was an idea. So I thought I'd throw that one out to you guys and see what you thought about that. Again, the Coturnix Corner project. Anita Garrett from AJ Farms LLC contacted me today and said that she has a sponsor willing to supply either a 25 or a 40-pound bag of feed to give away as one of the prizes for the Coturnix Kids project. So I'm going to read all the sponsors for the kids project here in a second. I do want to say that all the sponsors spots are now filled. We are still taking donations because we have some things that we have to buy out of pocket, but and cover shipping and whatnot. But if you want to donate to this project, you can go over to the coturnixcorner.com website. You'll have to be a member of the group there, but get signed in. At the top of the page, there's a link for the Coturnix Kids Project, and there's a donation button on that page, and I believe there's a donation button on the homepage of the website there. And any donations are much appreciated. Like I say, all the donations will go towards prizes for the kids. Okay, so I do want to go through real quick a list of the sponsors that are giving us prizes each month. And we are set up for a year, so we've got sponsors to get us through 1 year of doing the Coturnix Kids projects. Hatching Time is giving a 2-unit cage setup. Bryant's Roost is donating an incubator. She's going to be buying an incubator for the kids. Coturnix Corner, we're sending a Coturnix Kids project tumbler. I might do a little more work. I'm actually thinking about down here where it says winner, maybe putting the winner's name there instead of the words winner. We'll work on that as time gets a little bit closer. Thieving Otter Farms donating hatching eggs for the project. This is the new sponsor. It's called Ernst Grain and Livestock. And those are the people that Anita Garrett hooked me up with. And I talked to them on the phone today, and they said that they can do either a 25 or a 40-pound bag of game bird starter. So that will work. We have one Coturnix Corner member that wants to remain anonymous, but they have donated enough money to pay for 1 year's worth of $25 Tractor Supply gift certificates. So, if the kid needs any, materials, whatever, feeders, they can go to Tractor Supply and get that with the gift certificate. So I just want to give a shout out and recognition to all them sponsors, because without them, we wouldn't be able to do the kids project. We do have, I guess I should probably show you guys real quick. I know I did this last week, but I want to do it real quick for those that didn't see last week's live stream or are new to the live streams. Let me get over here and change that page there. Switch over to NDI. Okay, this is the Coturnix Kids project page. If you notice along the top nav bar, the link all the way to the right, well, one spot from the right says Coturnix Kids Project. If you click that, that'll bring you to this page, and right there at the top is the donate button. But then it talks about how they can get started, getting into this. And there's a link right here at the top that says join here. If you click on that, what it does is it takes you to our space pages, and we have the Coturnix Kids project space, and that is where the kids can write up their stories, submit photos and or videos, and every month we'll choose one of the kids here as a winner. So we're starting to get quite a few entries, and what we're going to do is August 1st, which will be 2 weeks from today, we will be selecting our first winner, and then it'll be the first week of the month from here on out for next year. So hopefully we can keep the project going. Last year we had some good sponsors last year, but some of them after the first year decided they wanted to drop out. So I made sure that when we got the sponsors this year, that they knew that this was a year-long thing that they needed to commit to, and so we're good there. Okay, I see. Anita says Ernst Grain and Livestock is the parent company of Homestead Harvest Feed. And yes, that is. And I thank you, Juanita, or Anita. Okay, I am going to get back on the right page over here. I tell you what, guys, I can't wait to get back to my old software because um, if you aren't able to watch it live with the kids, is that okay? Yeah, Leah, you guys are going to be notified over on the Coturnix Corner community website. We'll message you who the winner was. We'll also post the winner over in that group, so you're gonna know it. All right, I think that's about it for me. We do have some giveaways that we're going to be doing tonight, guys. Thieving Otter Farm hatching eggs, Southwest Game Birds hatching eggs, a $50 gift certificate from Hatching Time, and I think that's it. Yep, that's it for now. So let me go ahead and we're going to jump into the chat room. I hate this. On the other software, I can do everything on one computer, but I have to do this on this computer. Let's see. Nabiki's in the house. Says I want to say a big thank you to some people. They know who they are, who helped me out after my neighbor's dogs chased off or killed 44 birds that I had in my grow out last month. Wow, that's a shame. She's also saying they were all of the birds that I hatched this year. Sorry to hear that, Nabiki. Jessica Hughes in the house. Says hello from El Paso, Texas. Super hot here today. Yeah, it was pretty warm here today too. I think 94 with a heat index of 105. Yeah, it's warm. Michael says, good evening from Southeast Missouri. Wet here today, but that's a good thing as we are in a drought. Fat Countries from Tampa, Florida. Andy Rabbit's in the house. Says hello. Talking to Michael. Kat says hello, everyone. Amanda says hello. Hey, everyone. Michael says dry here. Looked out yesterday. Saw two trees gating over the same distance. Two trees for gating over the same distance. I don't know what that means. Graham family, okay. Good evening from Oklahoma. Haven't been on in a while. Hope all you quail heads are doing awesome. Doing pretty good. I can't complain. Jalopy guy's in the house. Says hello, quailers from Western Washington State. Okay, see, Ann Amanda says it sounds good. Miki says audio. Okay, everything looks good. I'm going to skip over those. Underhill says happy fun time forever. Andy Pearson says good evening all. Joy Guthrie's in the house. Says hello all from Western Oregon. Glad you could join us, Joy. Ben's Hobbies, Interest, Vlogs, and More says hello from South Wales, UK. Glad you could join us. And he says you get what you pay for, they say. Absolutely. Model T Zombie says sad news. 110 degree killed my newborn 18 babies Sunday. Oh, that's a shame. Yeah, it's pretty hard on them. Nita Garrett's in the house. Says hey there, everyone. Not talking to me. J Boogie 420 says, love Hatching Time. They're an hour away from me. Really cool people. They are. I mean, I like Ryan and Yagiz. They go out of their way to help me out. They help me out with stuff, to review for you guys. They're great when it comes to working with us. For those of you who have Hatching Time cages and have voiced your opinion on the water system, I can tell you that they are working on it now. They've actually sent me out the prototype for the new water system. There's still a few things yet that need to be tweaked on that, but as soon as we get it straightened out, I believe Ryan told me by Friday I'm going to hear something, so I'll let you guys know. But Yeah, just great people to work with, and I couldn't be any happier with their equipment. All right, now talking to me. Underhill says, "How long after my female starts laying would I want to begin trying to hatch them?" I usually give my hens, a week and a half, maybe 2 weeks before I'll start collecting eggs from them. That helps them or lets them, get their cycle worked out and the egg size. A lot of times when a hen starts laying, the eggs will be a little bit smaller. So if you give them a couple weeks, let the eggs kind of level off, I guess, size wise and consistency and everything, and then you can go ahead and start incubating them. I mean, you can try before that, but I like to let everything get straightened out. Pam's in the house says hello from Clarksville. Collier's Custom Tackle says hi from Alabama. My breeders are getting old. If they're from the same initial batch, should I add new blood or hatch new breeders for my current set? I would just go ahead, especially if your current set has is from a mixed line, several different bloodlines for the hens or the roosters. Yeah, just go ahead and select from the new batch. Unless the only thing that I wouldn't recommend is breeding, brother to sister, sister to brother, and whatnot. But even if you went back, say daughter to father, son to mother, that's fine. But if you're going to say if you've got two different batches, select your roosters from one batch, select your hens from the other batch, you'll do just fine. Naviki says, "Oh, I usually wait 2 weeks." Joy Guthrie said, "I would be interested in an incubator kit." Cool. Yeah, like I say, if I can if the interest is there, and I can do it, my biggest concern is boxing it up and making sure that it gets to you guys safely, and isn't going to cost an arm and a leg. But I do know a lot of people, they don't have table saws and all the equipment that I use, to cut like the 45 angles and to get everything nice and straight. So this way they would have a nice, box to start out with. Everything would be square and everything. Yeah, we're definitely going to look into it. If there's a big enough uh, demand for it, we'll probably go ahead and do it. FJF says Judson here. Grand Family, Oklahoma. Without a doubt, I'd buy a full kit if it were available. Dog, you're kind of killing my back here. Hold on, guys. I got a dog sitting behind me. Come here. Sit up front. Come on. That's a good girl. Thank you. Now I can relax a little bit. Chad says, good evening, everyone. I would hatch from your own quail, wait to buy new blood. Yeah, I agree. I don't really bring in new blood that often. I figure that out of all the breeding cages I have and all the hens that are in each one of the cages, probably one or two of them may be sisters. The rest of them are, just uh, birds from different mothers, or most of them be from different mothers, because usually people use, one or two roosters for a group of birds hatching uh, breeding groups. Samantha says hatching eggs. Talking to me. Underhill says one of my yearling chicken hens laid a double yolk no shell outside the pouch all over the back porch today. That's not a good thing. Jessica Yu says, yeah, the heat wave has been awful. We had to wrap our runs in shade cloth, put 2-liter ice bottles around 11 and run 20 minutes water into the ground every morning that they can dust bathe in. Yeah, when it's hot out there and your birds are outside, yeah, it helps to, do stuff like that. I know some people that use 2-liter bottles frozen, like you were just saying, and then the birds would just lay up next to those, cool down. So Andy Rabbit says it would be more of the hardware for the incubator I would want. I think cutting the foam would be the easy part. Yeah, if you've got, table saw, access to a table saw, cutting the foam is no problem there. Some people I know have cut it with a utility knife. Your edges get a little bit chunky, but yeah, like I say, it's an idea. So we're gonna put it out there and see what people like. Fat Country says purchase some feeding trough from Hatching Time and installed them. No feed loss. I really like my feed troughs from Hatching Time. They do great. Anita says Ernst Grain and Livestock is the parent company of Homestead Harvest Feed. Okay. Underhill says, how can you have both egg rollout and a feed trough? On the Hatching Time cages, the way they're set up is the eggs roll out underneath the trough, and you can actually, if there's a bunch of eggs in the tray, you can actually lift up on the trough and pull the eggs out. But even on my wire cages, I had the Hatching Time trough feeders on my wire cages, and it worked the same way. The eggs would just roll out from underneath them. What do we have here? Chad says going to be ordering Hatching Time's 5 high stackable cage tomorrow. Can't wait. Chad, there's one thing, and I don't know because I've never had the 5 high cage or the 5 tier setup, but I have heard people complain about when you've got the 5 tier and then that big water container on top, which is a 5-gallon container. I have heard people complain about the wheels collapsing and breaking off of it, especially if you loaded them down with birds. You might be better off going maybe with a 4 or 2 3s, something like that. Now my 3s, that's what I use, is the 3 high, and I've never had a problem with them. The casters hold up good. I've never had anything break on them. So your call. I just want to throw that out there that if you've got a lot of weight in the 5 high, it could be an issue. Amy says, hi, everyone. Big Hoss Gun 74 says, hello from Northern Illinois. Just got my first couple of eggs from my quail today. Cool. Congratulations. You'll be hatching eggs for no time. Richard says, I'm pretty handy with tools and a tape. If possible, you have a hard copy plans for the cages, brooder boxes, possibly beneficial builds. I would definitely buy it. Coturnix Corner construction plans. Yeah, I don't want to put them out there as plans to sell. I mean, I wouldn't mind, putting the plans out there and you guys can just download them offline. Because I never did these projects to make, to put them out there to sell and try to make money off them. Now the DIY incubator, the only reason I would do that was just to kind of help you guys be able to get nice clean cuts for your incubator. So I don't know. I could think about it like I say though, the construction plans, that would probably be easier for me to just draw them up and upload them somewhere you guys can download them. Otis said, don't know what that means. I got to cut 1/8 inch off the metal rods for a tighter assembly on my cages. Okay, I know what you're talking about on the Hatching Time cages. Yeah, some of them do. They do stick out a little bit, which allows that to shift back and forth. I haven't noticed any need to do that, but if it works, it works. Underhill says we're having the hottest days in 10,000 years, 10K years. Wow. Tony's in the house is hi from Toronto. I hate doing this, guys. I'm looking at one computer, and this is the computer I'm normally using. White Trim says hello from Albuquerque. A little warm at 109. That is nuts. Dale Strong's in the house says hello from Ohio. Glad you could join us, Dale. Salvador, glad you could join us, buddy. Hi, Terry. Hi, Salvador. Glad you could make it. Amy says, has anyone used pine pellets for their quail? My birds are in aviary type cages. I've never used pine pellets. I do go out. We have a park where I can get an unlimited amount of what do they call the stuff that you throw in your cages? I'm out of it today. I've been out working the bees in the hot sun all day, and it kind of messing with my brain. But compost is the word I was looking for. I can get all the free compost I need from a local park. Um, but I don't see why throwing pine pellets in there would hurt anything. I guess depending on cost, I like to keep the stuff as cheap as possible. Joyce's question: is there any way to tell the difference between a laying hen and a non-layer? For the most part, if you look at the vent, I mean, I can do it on my birds. Um, if you look at the vent, a hen that's been laying, her vent is going to be, I won't say swollen, but it's going to be a larger oval. The oval is going to look bigger than one that hasn't ever laid an egg. Um, if it's a, a vent sexable bird, I've actually had birds, non-feather sexable birds, where you look at them and you think, oh, that's a rooster, and it's actually a hen that just hadn't started laying yet. So, um, yeah, I mean, as far as being able to tell the difference, if it's laying, you should be able to see it. Underhill says, I've used pine pellets for baby chickens. I don't see why it wouldn't work for quail. There you go. Nabiki says, I've used them, but I didn't see much advantage to them. They're pretty slippery when they powder down. I went back to pine shaving. Okay. Mary Howard's in the house. Glad you could join us, Mary. Good afternoon from Washington State. Let's see. Okay, Joy saying, other than taking them to another cage by themselves, yeah, split them up and then see which ones are laying, which ones aren't. I think, Joy, if you compare a couple hens side by side, um, you'll know the ones that are laying. The vent's going to look a little bit, I don't want to say stretched out, but that's kind of like what it is. Um, Once you get the one that hasn't been laying and you put it side by side, you're definitely going to see it. Mithrander says, good evening from Ohio. Glad you could join us. Fat Country said, I would like 1 or 2 kits. Wow. Underhill said, I would buy an incubator kit. Kind of hard to find the foam here. Yeah, the foam's not really hard to find. I mean, I get it at Home Depot. I don't know if maybe you don't have Home Depots. Um, they're available in 1-inch thick foam and 2-inch thick foam. So we could actually put out 2 thicknesses of incubators. One for, say you're up in a colder climate. They've got a 2-inch thick foam. We could adjust the plan so it would you could use the 2-inch foam. Down here, I just use the 1-inch foam. It works perfectly fine for me. I haven't had no issues with it, but we've got quite a bit of high temperatures down here. Jessica says, would high temps cause the hens to lay smaller or lead to changes in the eggs in any way? I mean, if it's a sudden temperature change, then yeah. I mean, quail don't like changes in they like routine. So if you go from, extremely, not, I won't say extremely cold, but nice cool weather to extremely hot for a couple days, that may throw off their laying cycle. I've never seen it affect the egg size. Usually once a hen starts laying a certain size egg, that's pretty much where she stays. So April says, show us the dog. You guys have seen Cookie before. Come here, Cookie. There's Cookie. We got another one now too, solid black one. His name's Henry. He's going to be our little stud dog for the girls. So, but yeah, Cookie's my dog, and my wife's got a white one named Tilly, and then we just got Henry, and of course we have Red, the watchdog. So, Lindsay says, which is best, 1/4 or 1/2-inch hardware cloth for an outdoor run? I've seen quarters harder to work with poop wise, but I would like to keep the little legs safe from predators, raccoons, weasels, etc. The 1/4 inch is so thin. Obviously, you're going to run into an issue with manure buildup because you got a 1/4 inch size hole. But also, the 1/4 inch is pretty thin, and I would think that a tough raccoon could probably peel its way into it. I like the 1/2 inch. Now I won't say it's funny, but I had a girl who is the granddaughter of a friend of mine. I set her up with a cage and hatching eggs, an incubator and whatnot. She got set up, and this happened twice to her. She hatched out eggs, and the cage had half-inch hardware cloth on the bottom, and she had them in a brooder indoors. But when she put the birds outside, once they grew up, she put them outside, and within a couple days, rats got to them. Exact same thing. They say that it basically pulled them through the wires and killed all her quail. And the only thing that I could think to do to resolve that problem was to build a false floor. So you would have her floor was framed out with 1x2s. No, I'm sorry, 2x2s. So the original floor was on top of the 2x2, and then we took another floor and put underneath it. We haven't actually done it, but that was the idea. That way you would have a false floor. They couldn't get through that floor and couldn't reach their feet, through that. Yeah, if you're in an area where predators can be a problem, I would definitely, address that issue and try to come up with something that's going to keep them from getting to the cages. Carrie says, would love some hatching eggs. GIS Herps is in the house, is still monitoring from Birmingham. Carrie says 105 here today. Wow, that's crazy. Amanda said, question, I'm focusing on color breeding, but also want to sell eating eggs to offset some of the flock costs. Can I sell fertilized eggs for eating, right? Yeah, absolutely. Any difference in handling and storage? If you're going to sell eggs for eating, I would collect every day and put them, in trays and refrigerate them. It wouldn't hurt. Actually, I got a video on the channel here. Go try to find that video. Something to do with washing, eating eggs, something like that. And it's basically the same thing. I go through, collecting the eggs, washing the eggs, packaging the eggs, and then refrigerating the eggs. That's what I would do if I was to sell eating eggs to the public. Obviously the eggs can sit out on a counter at room temperature and, last you a month or so, and they'll be fine. But for eating eggs outside your house, I think I would go with refrigerated. Big House Gun says, hello from Northern Illinois. My quail just gave me my first eggs. I think I already read that once. Libby says, I hatched from Southwest Game Birds, 6 out of 18 hatched. I'm sure this was a male issue. Do you have any idea if these would be siblings or how likely they are to be siblings? That I can't answer. I don't know what you got. If you got a mix, obviously they're going to have different parents. But that would be a question for Michael. I would reach out to Michael and ask him. For the most part, I would say Michael probably keeps his lines diverse enough to where, if you hatched out 6 birds, the odds of them all being related are pretty slim. Child of God says, giveaways sound good. Thanks to those donating. I know whoever wins will appreciate it. Yep. Cat says, got home, raised birds on the smoker grill, and made it to the stream on time. Cool. Having a good night over here. Sounds cool. Oh, I hate this thing. Underhill says, I only have 4 males and 1 female. I guess I should be keeping all of them for now. Yep. You need to see if you can't find a few more hens somewhere. Pappy's Homestead's in the house this evening. Emma Ball says, hello from UK. I'm so glad I made this live. Hello, everyone. Glad you can make it, Emma. Ryan's in the house says, hey. Cameron Thomas says, hello from Victoria, Australia. Cool. Glad you could join us. Thanks for these live chats. Questions. What would be the maximum age that you can harvest quail to eat? Typically, I see around 6 to 8 weeks, but does later matter? If you're harvesting just for yourself, no, you can. We've eaten birds that were, 6 and 8 months old. The only thing is we tend to prepare them a little bit differently. An older bird, my wife will usually maybe throw it in a crock pot or something. We do the same. We harvest at 6 to 8 weeks, sometimes up to 10. And that seems to be the sweet spot as far as getting birds for whether you're going to fry them, barbecue them, whatever, or bake them. Evan says, I have 100 jumbos due to hatch on the next couple days. Cool. Congratulations. Good luck. Sausage the Rat. Slaughter is physically very simple. The difficulty for most is purely psychological. If the mental barrier is no issue, then butchering will be simple. After one or two birds, you'll be good. I agree 100%. It's I mean, I get to where now I can knock out a bird in under a minute. I just got the uh, a system down where it's snip, clip, 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 peel the skin back, pull the guts, and I'm done. Chad says, glad to hear. I didn't know that. Thank you for the info. Truly appreciate it. Absolutely. Pappy Somerson said Terry's just an all-around great guy. Thank you. Appreciate that. Saucer Rat says, Cameron, that's a minimum age, full grown at 10 weeks. I slugger are older, 2 years old, and they're fine. Okay. Pappy's Homestead says, smash that like button. Yep. We got 35 likes. Half of you guys have liked it. So I just liked it. So that will give us above the above the halfway point. Sausage the Rat says, depends on your goals. That's a small number to butcher as you'll be starting over. However, that's plenty to have for hatching. Oh, talking to Underhill. I'm sorry. I got to pay attention to what I'm reading here. Andy Rabbit says, I butchered some 3-year-old quail and they were fine. Talking to Cameron. Yep, I agree. That's one thing about quail. They don't seem to. I mean, I can tell an older bird just by the texture of the meat, but as far as taste and everything, it's pretty much the same. But I like the 6 to 8 week old birds. Those are perfect on the grill. And my wife always separates the legs from the breast, and we cook the legs up separate. She deep fries them, and oh my God, it's so delicious. Lamont says, good evening from the Carolinas. Glad you could join us. Al Ram said, I've got hatching time, pro starter kit. Any recommendations on jumbo quail breeding ratios for those cages? Don't want to overcrowd. Okay, I am not familiar with the pro starter kit. I imagine that's the standard quail cage. What I do in all my quail cages, I take out all the center dividers, and then I'll go with like a 1 to 6, 1 to 7 on those. You could actually go a little bit more, but that's if you're raising jumbos, it tends to look really crowded in there. If you're going with just the single individual units, I like 1 to 3 is probably the most I'll go on those. And I know the math doesn't work out, but I don't like putting multiple roosters together in those pens. I've done it, but I prefer to just have one rooster. It's easier for me to keep track of bloodline, stuff like that. John Bryson says, hi Terry, just finished 2 of your triple stack cages today. Kept 70 out of the last hatch. Cool. Ash McKee's in the house. Says, I'm here. Hi everyone. Glad you could join us. Don't talk to me. Amanda says, question. Also, should I store the eggs in the fridge or room temperature? How long? Selling at an outdoor market. Will the porosity of the eggs be affected by the temp difference from fridge to outdoor market? Yeah, I mean, if you take them out of the fridge and you're going outside, especially if it's warmer, the eggs may start to sweat a little bit. But I don't think it would really hurt them. What you could do is if you had a big enough cooler, maybe, take them out, just throw them in the cooler. Wouldn't need any ice or anything. Just, the eggs being cool will kind of keep it cool in the cooler. Yeah, I don't know. I mean, some people actually want eggs that have not been washed or refrigerated. So I would kind of talk with your people that you'll be selling them to, and see, does the bulk of the people want them unwashed? Do they want them washed and refrigerated? Bob says, is it ever unsafe to eat 2-year-old quail? I butchered some that looked and acted healthy, but the livers were slightly yellow. Also, does the meat get tougher at that age? I don't think the meat really gets tougher. I think it gets a different texture. Um, like I say, on anything that's over 6 months old, we pretty much, use like not the deep fryer, but I spent way too much time in the sun today, guys. Anyhow, the slow cooker, and that seems to do good. Back to the liver. Was the liver yellow itself, or was it fatty buildup around the liver? If it's just fatty buildup around the liver, that's fine. You don't have to worry about it. If the livers are off color, I don't even look at that. I don't even keep the bird. I throw it right in the bucket, and it goes into the trash. So, yeah, liver to me is kind of the telltale sign on health of the bird. Chad says, so I plan on having my quail in the garage. Will they need heat or light to stay warm? It's going to depend on where you're at, Chad. You know, quail are pretty robust when it comes to handling both extremes, whether it's extremely cold or extremely warm. As long as, if it's extremely cold, as long as they're out of the direct wind, rain, snow, they'll do fine. Extremely warm, as long as they've got fresh water and some type of air circulation, they usually do pretty good. So yeah, that's going to have to be your call. If I had to, like my birds are in a enclosed carport, and because it's pretty warm here in the summertime, I usually air condition it out there, mainly for me, because I hate working in the quail room when it's really hot. So the birds I know can handle it, but I can't. FJ says it's been some high temperatures in Louisiana. I've lost a lot of quail. Yeah, I mean, they can handle the temperature, but, like I say, you run them out of water or they're not in the shade, they don't have a breeze, yeah, you can cook them. Lamont says, question on the incubators you build, should they cycle often or should they hold steady? It should be about a 4-minute cycle for the most part. It's all going to depend on where you're at, your temperature. Mine, they're usually in a room that's right around 80 to 85 degrees, and they'll cycle about every 4 minutes. Lights will come on, they'll get up to 99 degrees, the lights will shut off. Temperature, we usually go from 99 to 99.5, sometimes 99.7, just from the residual heat of the bulbs, but then they'll slowly start dropping off. And it's usually, like I say, anywhere between 3 and 4 minute cycle on them. Jalopy Guy says, on the laying hens, the pelvic bones are wider than the non-laying hens. Not always. You can check, and that's one of the things that I do check when I'm selecting my breeders, is the width between the pelvic bones. And hens that are laying will have this basically the same width of what I checked for when I selected them. And I've also had hens that lay that have narrower pelvic bones, and usually the problems they run into is they get egg bound, prolapse, whatever, and it's not a good deal. Jessica said, awesome, Cookie's gotten so big. She just turned 1 2 days ago, I want to say, maybe 3 days ago. So yeah, we've got a 2-year-old, a 1-year-old, and then the male, the puppy, is almost 3 months, I want to say. Sausage the Rat says, quail are still animals and their physiology is designed for reproduction and survival. Drastic shifts in their habitat can have multiple effects on their behavior/production. I would say I'd have to agree with that. Talking to me, not talking to me. Chelsea says, I want to make your incubator using foil lined insulated board. Do you see my issues with that? I think I know of one person that did it. Here's the problem, is usually that foil lined board is, the foil is on styrofoam, not on this, I don't even know what they call it, polystyrene type board. Will it work? Yeah, but it's going to be tricky to cut the boards and everything without getting those little styrofoam beads, you know, uh, falling everywhere. Uh, yeah, you could try it. What I would do, I would get a piece of that foil lined insulated board, cut it first, and see if it'll work for you. I hate to see cut all your parts out and find out that everything's falling apart on me. But I mean, as far as having the foil line, no, that's not going to hurt anything. Question: what is your favorite color quail? I am partial to the red pansy. It's a breeding project that I'm working on, and it's actually coming along pretty good. I really like the pansies, and I really like the rue, so that's kind of my favorite color right now. Not talking to me. Not talking. Mario says, when do quail start laying eggs? I've had mine for a month and a half, and they aren't laying yet. Um, Normally, I mean, when you hatch them out, they usually start laying right around 6 weeks, and sometimes will go as long as 8, maybe even 10 weeks. It all depends on how old your birds are. I can't tell you when they'll start laying, but if you had just got them, oh, you've had them for a month and a half, they should have started laying if they are mature. Um, if they're not mature, obviously it's going to take a little bit longer. But month and a half, that would be 6 weeks. So they should start laying anytime if you got them as chicks. If you got them as adults and they're not laying, could be a stress factor, could be the move, could be something in the setup that they just don't like. I would need a little more information to on that. Anita says, we like the 1/2x1 coated wire as the droppings fall through easily. We do have it on our outside grow out pens. We are right against the national forest and haven't had a problem. I too use the 1/2x1, and I love it because it's so easy to keep clean. Even my hatching time cages have the 1/2x1. They call it the what do they call it? Boy, I am just lost today, guys. It's not the pheasant. I'll think of that in a minute, but it's the larger flooring that hatching time offers. Not talking to me. Emma says, question, are you working on any color projects at the moment? The red pansy is the only color that I am concentrating on working. I am working with a line of pharaohs that I got from Anita Garrett, but those are going to be the only two that I'll be offering come late fall. Talking to me. Nabiki said I should probably shut up and let Coturnix Corner answer the question. No, I appreciate all your help, Nabiki. I mean, that's what the whole chat thing's about, Don't rely on me to answer all the questions. You guys jump right in there and help out all you want. Underhill says, no, it's okay to help people. Right. I see people all the time help. Yep, I agree, 100%. And Nabiki says, thanks. All right, guys, that brings us down to the bottom of our chat questions. Carrie says, frozen. What is frozen? I don't know what you're talking about, Carrie. You probably asked me something earlier. Wow, what did I do? Did I miss some questions here? Because I look like I'm... Hold on, guys. I got to go back up because it looks like I missed it. For some reason, it skipped down to the bottom here. Unbelievable. Another reason I do not like this program. Dane Patches in the house says, hello from Georgia, in the middle of my hatching my very own eggs for the first time. Very exciting. Cool. Congratulations. Are those the eggs? Didn't you win some eggs not too long ago on the show here? Not talking to me. Kat says, I'm in Wisconsin. We frequently get 0-degree temps for extended periods. This will be my first winter with quail. I'm curious what people do for the watering systems in extreme cold. There is a video on the channel. It's actually one of our live streams. It's about putting together a heated and circulated water system to keep them from freezing. But, you know, everybody talks about, I mean, yeah, I know Wisconsin gets cold, Michigan gets cold. I know people up in northern Canada that are regularly, their birds are subject to minus 40 degrees, which I don't, that's probably Celsius, but I don't know what that works out to be, but I know it's really cold and they do just fine. Like I say, if they're out of the weather, you've got some type of a windbreak, they'll do just fine. They can handle the cold. Talking to me, Wendell's in the house is sorry for getting here late. My YouTube was stuck on an ad. Yeah, that can happen. Excuses, excuses, Wendell. Just kidding. Under says, I was also planning to build in the garage. It's wind tight. Yeah, you should be fine then. Here's a good point. The bigger issue of freezing water and eggs. Yep, that can be an issue. I don't have to worry about it down here, but I guess you would have to collect eggs multiple times a day to make sure you're getting them before they freeze. And then with the water, like I say, a heated circulated system should be fine. Clifton says, good evening, Mr. Terry from South Mississippi. I'm always late to your live. LOL, because it's my feeding time. Love your videos. Built your 3-tier cage. The quail love it. Oh, I'm glad you joined us anyhow. Not talking to me, not talking to me. Mithrander says, I've heard as long as you protect them from the wind, they aren't really bothered by the cold. Yeah, pretty much. Biggie at under the consider jumbos if they weigh 10 ounces at 4 weeks. That's a little big in my experience. I have a little bit different chart that I go by that was given to me by Anita Garrett, which is what she used on her line of birds. I don't remember what the weight was at 4 weeks, but I want to say at 6 weeks it was just under 10 ounces, if I'm not mistaken. There's a kind of like a saying going around 10 ounces at 10 weeks, and they're jumbos. I really don't like that. I think that jumbo classification should be something that's a little bit earlier, like making weight at 6 weeks, and then again at 8 weeks, and then again at 10 weeks. Because if you have a bird that doesn't make weight at 6 weeks and you cull him, but he does make weight at 10 weeks, did you make a mistake by culling him, or is that part of your line a bird that increasingly makes a certain weight by a certain week? So we're doing a video this week. I've got a bunch of pharaohs that I'm going to be weighing out, and we're going to be doing a video on that, and we're going to discuss a little bit about that as far as the 10 ounce by 10 weeks things go. All right, not talking to me. All right, we got that. Okay, Dane says, I won the tumbler, but would love to win some eggs. Amy says, I'm grateful there are others out there. I have no one raising quail around me. Yeah, I mean, if you want to do a farm pickup, that's, in my eyes, that's the best way to do it. But shipping is getting pretty. The breeders know how to package the eggs to get them to you safely. Yeah, we have to deal with the post office and the people in there that don't really know how to handle them. But yeah, I mean, if you have to, go with shipped eggs and hatch them out. Nabiki says, I have some chicks hatching now, but I'm getting greedy about eggs since I'm rebuilding my breeding lines. Since the dog attack, the neighbors are paying for them, but slowly. Wow. Emma Ball said, what lights can be used for supplemental lighting? I use, well, the Nabiki answered it, LEDs. Nice thing about LEDs, they don't emit any heat, so you could have all the lighting you need, and your room's not going to get hot. I've seen people use Christmas lights, string them up along the back side of their cages, or even the front side. But LEDs are nice because, one, they're a lower draw bulb, and they don't produce heat. So, and you can get them in different wattages. Underhill, do you need to season them? Though I know this from chickens. Don't take house birds and put them in the cold. Or you mean, I think it's more of a shock factor. Are you talking about moving birds from an indoor warm environment outside? Yeah, I would definitely kind of wean them into it. Depending on the age of the birds, obviously chicks, you want to be a little bit more careful with. Make sure they're fully feathered out and wean them off the heat. There you go. Model T Zombie says, I put a small ceramic heater in my pen during extreme cold. I guess that would work. I'd be a little concerned about fire. I'm always worried about, fire starting with, light bulbs and even my brooders. I use heating lamps on my brooders. And the way I've got them set up, there's no way that the light bulb or the element could fall down in there. I've seen people take a clamp it to like the side of a chair or something, or even the side of the brooder, and just let the bulb hang over it. That, to me, that's just a fire waiting to happen. Yeah, Nabiki, I think you're thinking about the 10 ounce by 10 weeks. That's pretty common. A lot of people have been. I don't go by that, but a lot of people have been using that as a judge. Underhill says, I have one of my males who's relatively quiet and eats everything I put in front of him. I want to breed him first. Okay. Yeah, if he's if he is your best male, look at him for, structure, overall health, make sure there's no problems with him, feet, legs, beak, eyes, everything. Check that out. And if he's up to weight, yeah, breed him. Okay, there's Anita. She said 200 grams is 7.6 ounces at 4 weeks is what we use. Yeah, that is the same thing that she sent me. So, yep, that's about right. And that, if I'm not mistaken, Anita says she got that from Perry Schofield, a weight chart. And that's pretty much what we go by. The weight inconsistencies from 4 weeks to 6 weeks, do you think it's genetic, feeding habits, behavioral issues early on? If you've got a bird that at 6 weeks weighs, we'll just say like in, well, no, it'd be a little bit heavier than that. At 6 weeks, we'll just say 9 ounces, and you've got one of its siblings is 5, 6, 7 ounces. I would definitely think that younger bird or that lighter bird is genetically prone to be from a smaller line, or it's somewhere in its genetics is a size issue. I was asking this to Anita not too long ago. We were talking, and I asked her, I said, what percentage of your birds hatch out and make jumbo weight? She said 95%. So I know Anita has been, really, her and John have a really strict culling process for their birds when they're weighing birds. And I think if you cull properly, you're going to consistently produce larger birds. Yeah, you may have a few that don't make weight, but get them out of your lines. There's no need to wonder if it's genetic or if that bird just was falling behind. Same with birds that have failure to thrive. Get them out early. Joyce says, I weighed my 8-week-old birds and had a hen that weighed 15.7. That's a big bird. Underhill says, wow, a whole pound quail. That's great. Kat says, I trust birds will be fine in the cold. I'm worried about keeping the water thawed when it's 0. Thanks for your responses, everyone. Yep. Sausage Rat says, yes, LEDs are cheap. And there it goes again. Stupid thing. And you can adjust brightness hooked up to a timer. There you go. Good idea. Emma says, thanks, Terry. Sausage Rat says, for the new quail owner, they're goldfish with feathers. Very easy to keep them successfully. I've never heard it put that way, but okay. Nabiki says, that's a very good comparison. They're messy like goldfish, too. Yep. Yes, they are. Model T Zombie says, oh, I did find out my quail love leftover fried rice. Never tried that one. Okay. Quail are nature's meatballs. Andy Rabbit says, this winter I tied a 75-watt heat lamp in the top of one of my animals' cages. It was close to the water and it never froze. There you go. Ideas like that, you know, to keep the water warm. It's a good idea. And there's so many. I mean, I've heard people use aquarium heaters, the little I think they sell like a ceramic thing. You put it down in the bottom of the water feeder or the water container, and it keeps it warm enough to where it won't freeze. Cattle tank heater, Underhill saying, working great in a chicken coop. Just put it in the reservoir and plug it in. There you go. Chad says, excited, hope to win. Dale Strong says, question, if your rooster weighs more than the hens, would you use him as a breeder? No. I was advised this by a couple people that I respect their opinions. One was Martin Yardley. He says you don't want a rooster breaking the hen's backs. You know, they're too big for the hen. You're going to end up messing up your hens. And Anita says the same thing. You know, pick a smaller rooster and use your hens as the size judgment. You know, the size. Boy, I need to take a break, guys. Take a nap. I'll beat here. Okay. Lindsay says, opinion time for brooders, heat lamps, or brooder heat panel. What's the best temperature range? I have 20 thieving otter eggs incubating. Fingers crossed. I use your standard clamp lamp with a 100-watt bulb in it, and it's about yay high off of the, well, yay high. We're going to say 16 inches, 16 to 18 inches off the bottom of the substrate, or off the top of the substrate. And the birds will come and go as they need heat, you know. Where I'm at, it's pretty warm, so I don't have to worry about it. I don't like the heating plates. I had one girl that was having an issue with birds. She sent me a couple pictures and said, what's wrong with my birds? Are losing feathers off their back. And it turned out that she had the heat plate too low, and they were burning their backs on the back of the bottom of the heat plate. So yeah, I like just a regular clamp lamp with a 100-watt bulb in it, and I'll let the birds come and go as they need the heat. And a lot of times you can just look at your brooder and tell what they're doing. If all the birds are, you know, on the opposite end of the cage away from the heat, well, obviously it's too hot. If they're all huddled together underneath the heat, it's obviously too cold. You want them kind of scattered around, you know, evenly throughout the brooder. That's telling you got it just right. All right. Where are we at? Catch's aquarium heater. That's a great idea too. Underhill says, yeah, for smaller reservoirs, aquarium heaters can work, but some of them want to run all the time because the minimum thermostat temp is like 65. I didn't know that. Sauce Rat says, it's really good to see these birds being adopted in less than rural areas, seeing people getting back to these great traditional skills. Home food production is very rewarding. Yep, I agree with that. And I know a lot of people that they're in an area where they can't keep any type of poultry, so they turn to quail. And back when I got started, this was probably 6 years ago, I had chickens, and we're only allowed to have 4 hens and no roosters. But I wanted to produce, you know, more chicks and whatnot. So I started looking into quail, and I was actually looking at bobwhite first. And then I found out, you know, the requirements for keeping bobwhite are a little bit different than Coturnix. Stumbled across Coturnix and haven't turned back. I love doing the Coturnix. Andy Rabbit says a 75-watt heat lamp is a reptile lamp with a ceramic heating bulb. They say guinea pigs can't handle the cold, and they did good all winter. Yeah, I know some people that use the ceramic heat bulb, and that works good. Pappy's Home said, I have pickled, I don't know what SOP stands for, many eggs. It's insane. Now, since I do barbecue catering, I'm smoking them after boiling them. That was a great idea. A great idea. They are awesome snacks. I got to try that. That sounds good. Underhill says, I don't give supplemental lighting or supplemental heat for chickens, even if it's bitter cold. They are hardy to minus 25 or 30 as long as they are used to winter. Are quail any different? Again, I can't give you a straight answer on that because I'm not in an area that has winter, but I do know a lot of people that are up north that keep their birds outside. My niece, she's in central Michigan, and it gets pretty cold up there, snows like crazy, and her birds are all outdoors and they do just fine. So, and people up in northern Canada, Harry Schofield, he's up there and he's always telling me how cold it's up there, and his birds do great. Emma says, question, what size brooder for the first week around 25 chicks? I use, it's a 100 and, it's either 108 or 118 quart Sterilite tub. It's probably 36 inches wide by about 16 inches deep, and it works good. I actually put 50 chicks in there when they first hatch out, and then at the end of the first week, I'll break them into 25 per or 30 per brooder, and they do just fine. Once they start growing, you're going to want to split them up again because they have a tendency to poop them up real quick, and it starts to smell. You're not talking to me, not talking to me. Vicky says smoked eggs are good. I am going to try that. Cat says, can't wait to try smoking the eggs. At what temp and how long do you smoke? I would be interested in that too. Sausage the Rat says, quail egg sushi, very easy to make. It tricks people into thinking you're a great chef and it's delicious. Never heard of that one either. Vicky says, I put them in with a quail when I smoke them. They might be a little rubbery, but they're real tasty. Okay. What do I tell my hen to get her to lay more? I don't know. Maybe you're headed to the meat pen if you don't. Talking to me. Jessica says, will you be selling any quail from your breeding project? Yes, Jessica. As a matter of fact, I just talked with NPIP, our Department of Agriculture. They are coming out the 15th of next month, I believe. Middle of next month, sometime, to get me renewed. I've got to get my foliarm typhoid expires, and my AI ran out last year sometime, so I'm getting everything renewed. And I'm trying to be able to offer hatching eggs by late fall, mid to late fall. So, Child of God says, cities does not allow chickens, so keep quail. Not sure on the rules for quail, but keep them in a spare room. Clean them every day or two. Don't have a lot. Yeah, it's a good idea. I don't know if my wife would let me keep them in a spare room, but if you've got a place that, if you want to keep them outside to deal with the smell, if you've got a place that, maybe the neighbors can't see, like a, privacy fence or some bushes or something, you keep your quail, out of sight, out of mind type of deal. Most people, even when they hear the roosters crow, they have no idea what it is. I've had my neighbor who lives directly across the street come over, and we'd be, messing around in the driveway or on the side of the house, and he would hear my roosters crow, and he's looking around, he's like, what is that? And I just look at him, I have no idea. He knows now that I have quail, but he did not recognize the call or the crow, and he thought it was something outside. He had no idea that it was coming from my quail. Andy Rabbit says, all of my quail are outside all winter. We just cover the cage with a tarp when the winds will be coming with the cold. I don't do heat for the quail. They do have an enclosed sandbox area. There you go. Okay, what time is it? Ooh, it's already after 8. We got to get rolling, guys. Let's see if there's a few more that I overlooked. Bob Cole says, I use a Sterilite clear tub for a brooder too. After a few batches, I cut out the bottom and added a wood frame with a PVC coated hardware cloth. There you go. Made a 2x4 frame and cut a groove to hold the big pan for poo. Cool. That would work. Saucer Rat says, Terry, we have a quail hatchery and have been doing great over the last few years, but we meet many people who had bad experience with online strangers. Educating the consumer is very important. I agree. And that's why when people ask me questions, if I don't know the answer, I will always refer them to someone else, or like we're doing in here, let someone else answer the questions. I don't claim to know everything. I do know how I do things, but some people might not agree with my. Jessica says, questions. I don't have anyone close to complete NPIP testing in my state, and the closest individual to do it is 4 hours away. I have no experience in that, but would they likely travel that far? Yeah, I mean, if it's required by your state to get NPIP tested, yeah, they will send somebody out. If it's the state doing it, they might charge you, like a travel fee. I know here in Florida they don't charge us at all. They'll come out and do all the testing twice a year, and they don't charge. Child of God says, we have too many feral cats, so I'm afraid to keep them outside. Underhill says, thanks everyone, Terry, and happy fun time for y'all forever. Bob says, thanks for what you do. Absolutely. Thank you, Bob. And Vicky said, there are plenty of wrong ways to raise quail, but there are a lot of right ways too. There is no one single way. Absolutely. And that's why I try all the different ways. I mean, I've done them in a carport. I have an aviary out back. I've tried raising them in a quail cage out back. Yeah, I've tried it mainly because I was doing videos for the channel. But yeah, absolutely correct, Nabiki. Pappy Somsa said, thanks everyone, and Terry for your knowledge. Absolutely. All right, let me go back up here, and I'm going to do it on this computer because it's a little bit quicker, I think. There was one other one I saw. For you guys, that if I call your name off to win these prizes or the giveaways, you need to send me your information, shipping information, to Terry, if I can spell my own name, at CoturnixCorner.com. I just put it in the, did it pop up? Did I do it right? Yeah. Terry at CoturnixCorner.com. Send me your shipping information. Make sure I get good email address. Obviously, if you send it, the email will be good. But a good phone number and your complete shipping address with your name. I've had somebody say, send me their information, not last week, the week before, saying, hey, this is so-and-so, whatever their screen name was. And I won the hatching eggs or whatever they won. And they gave me their address. And I'm like, well, what's your name? I needed your name. So send me that information, and we will get that stuff forwarded onto the right people, so you get your prize as soon as possible. All right. First person is going to get Thieving Otter Farm hatching eggs, and that's going to Underhill. Underhill, you had a lot of great questions tonight, so You're going to get some Thieving Otter Farm eggs. Southwest Game Bird eggs are going to Jessica U. And Chad K, you are getting a $50 Hatching Time gift certificate. So again, guys, email me, terry@coturnixcorner.com with your shipping information, and I will get that out ASAP. So, guys, I want to thank you for joining me tonight. It's getting late. I got to go eat my dinner. We are going live next week. We have Bryant's Roost is coming on here. She is going to be, I'm not going to tell you what she's going to be talking about, but it has to do with shipping and some other stuff that she's got going on. And yeah, we're going live next week. So we'll have a guest next week. So be sure to join us. And hopefully I will have my software back and working again so I don't have to deal with this OBS stuff. So everyone, have a great